Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Darlene Manhart and you are watching Marine Projects with Darlene. Some of them will be sewing and some of them will not be. Today we are going to start out with welting cord or piping cord. This can be used for cockpit cushions, pillows, and other upholstery projects. For the welting cord project, we're going to start out with a ½ yard of fabric. I am using Sunbrella Pacific Blue and your thread. My thread, since this is for outdoor cushions, I am using a UV protective thread called Sunstop, and it's V69 size thread, also in the same Pacific Blue color. We also will need your welting cord, and I'm using size 532, which is the most common size for home decor projects, pillows, upholstery projects, and marine projects. What you want to do to begin is fold your ½ yard of fabric in half and have your selvage edge meet, and you're going to take it to the sewing machine and you're going to stitch down this side all across the bottom and back up to the top. And I will be back and show you what to do next. Okay, now that we have sewn completely around the sides and the bottom and back up, I did mark it with chalk so that you can see where I have sewn already. You are going to take a straight edge and you're going to lay it from corner to corner on the first edge. You're going to draw a line with your chalk, and you're going to snip the first corner and insert your scissors just through one layer of fabric, and you're going to cut on that line. And when you get to the next corner, you will do the same. You will cut the corner off like so, and you've only cut through one layer of fabric. The bottom one is not cut at all. So then you're going to want to flip it around, and we're going to do the same thing for the two corners that have not been cut. So again, we'll take our straight edge and lay it from corner to corner. Mark a line. Cut your first corner off. This is thick fabric. And insert your scissors. Just do one layer. Be careful when you get to the middle here. Now cut the corner, and you'll have, you'll open it up, and you will have a loop. And you're going to want to lay this on the table. And don't worry that it's not perfect, because you're going to straighten it up as you go along. You kind of have to flatten it though. And we're going to mark strips 1.5 inches wide, but not all the way to the top. Say about 3 inches at the top. Take your marker, and this is a clear plastic ruler that I'm using, and 1.5 inches would be like there. your time marking. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut on these lines. Almost there. We'll be cutting this edge right off completely because we don't need it. My fabric is quite thick, so you just take your time in cutting it straight. And again, my strips are 1.5 inches wide. You could pin this if you wanted to, but you shouldn't have to. It will be easier if you're using cotton. I'm just going to pause the camera so I can continue to cut this. Okay, I finished cutting all my strips and left the top like a little hula skirt. So what you're going to do next is you're going to open her up. See, there's this section that hasn't been cut. We're going to lay it down and we're going to mark this. Sometimes it's easier if you try and get the fabric out from underneath it. You may not always be able to do that. So I'm going to take my chalk and my straight line. And if we mark from here to here, you'd have just an oval, but we want a continuous piece of fabric, so we're going to do it at an angle. So this line here, we're going to do to this one. You're just going to want to lay this on here. And mark it with your chalk. So each one is at a diagonal, a slight diagonal. And it's okay, it's not perfect. Plan this out a little bit. And then on the end, we're just going to do it off the edge, right off the edge, there, and here. Then you're going to take your scissors. Be careful not to cut the fabric underneath. And you're just going to cut those pieces. This should produce about 14 yards of piping or welting cord. Just continues on for the 14 yards. Now we're going to take it over to the sewing machine, and I'm going to show you how to put the piping cord or the welting cord inside of this, and we're almost finished. Okay, we're going to take this over to the sewing machine. You're going to have your welting cord and your strip of fabric that you just cut, and you're going to lay the cord down the center and fold it in half. I'm working with a Sailrite sewing machine, which is set up with a presser foot that accommodates piping. It all depends on your machine. And this is a marine grade sewing machine. And you're going to want to put your stitch on, not the largest stitch, but not the smallest, kind of like a medium. And we're just going to stitch, and your piping will be done. And you just kind of keep folding as you go. And you do your entire strip of fabric in this fashion. And as you can see, you have your piping and you're done. And I will show you on my next project where I'm going to use this. We're going to be making cockpit cushions.